Zeroing hacks. 2 tricks I use to zero my firearms. Right now on Firearms and Reloading. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've been a little bit absent. Things have been absolutely chaos in my life at the moment, so I do apologize for not getting videos out. But I want to give you a real simple one for today's video, and it's 2 methods I use to reliably zero my firearms. So the first one we're going to go over here today is the one that I use pretty much all of the time, and it relies on the Ballistic X software, which I have covered in previous videos, and hopefully up the top there should be a little card popping up so you can see that video. Basically, Ballistic X gives me a readout of my group size, but also it'll actually give you an alteration to 0, and you'll be seeing this on the screen right now. So we all go to the range and we don't necessarily have time to 0, shoot again, 0, shoot again, particularly like if it's a competition day or something like that, or there's a busy schedule on, or maybe you only have a few hours free. So this will reliably allow you to zero both vernier adjustable iron sights like here, and then standard scopes as well. So I'm going to rip the scope caps off here, and we're going to go through. So I'm going to start with this one. This one's my 308. This is my little bush hunting rifle, if you haven't seen it on the channel before. And the turrets on this one are in half MOA, and the turrets or vernier scale on this little BSA in the background, they're in quarter MOA. Now, just bear in mind with iron sights, this adjustment is going to depend on your sight radius. So the longer the barrel, the longer the sight radius, the more you will have to adjust a sight to see a correction downrange. So there is some little caveats to this, but as a general rule, if you know your click value adjustment, then this Ballistic X method will work. And it's a rather simple process, as long as you can work out the difference between your Ballistic X readout and your actual readout in the real world, or your turret value, should we say. So now we have to convert the alteration to click value. So 1.11 is not achievable because we're in half MOA increments. So what we're going to do is 2 clicks to move 1 MOA up. Now, for the right-hand adjustment, 2.15 is also not achievable, but we can move it to MOA. That will equate to 4 clicks with the half MOA turret. So now we can make that adjustment. Right, so now I'm going to move the 308 out of the way so we have a better view of the BSA International. So this is going to be not more tricky because I know my click value adjustment, but you may have to bear that in mind if you are moving traditional iron sights. Now, I have done a video in the past, hopefully a card is going to be appearing up the top here, and that is a video on accurately adjusting iron sights based on measurement. And Dylan, as in Dylan Reloading, provide a really cool calculator that you can actually get a adjustment down to the 1,000th of an inch to accurately shift iron sights for adjustment. So that's a whole nother video. Like I said, it's up here in the top, should be appearing now, and that will allow you to do that. But today I'm lucky I have turrets here because this is a vernier scale adjustment. So let's go ahead and do this. So once again, we have to convert the MOA value to clicks. So in this case, down 2.83, not achievable. So we're going to do it 2.75 or 2 3/4. So we're going to times that by 4, and we are going to get our adjustment. Now these turrets, as a note, don't have an arrow indication as to which direction is up and down, so I do have to pay attention to what I'm doing here. Now, with the right-hand direction, we have 0.42. In this case, I'm actually going to round it up to a half MOA or 2-click adjustment. And the reason I'm doing this is my club range that I shoot on, generally speaking, has a right to left wind, just the way the terrain is. So I'm happy to be biased a little bit to the right. And the day that I actually did this shooting, I didn't have much wind at all. So I'm happy to over bias just a little bit and hope that that will help me out when the wind is kind of coming down the valley and across the range. So that covers a pretty simple method for getting your rifles zeroed. And the advantage to this is all you got to do is snap a photo while you're on the range of your target. You don't have to worry about playing with the rifle while you're out there and messing things up or doing something in a panic and turning something the wrong direction. We've all done it. Snap a photo, and then when you've got a chance to actually sit down at home on the workbench and think about it, then you can make the adjustment. Now, if I've got time on the range, I'll also use this very same method. It means you don't have to take a tape measure. You don't have to do anything like that. You just snap that photo, run it through Ballistic X, and it's going to give you that correction, and you can reliably count on that information. As long as you put the correct information in, and I go over that in the Ballistic X video, you're going to get a very, very good alteration to zero, to the point where you maybe just do 1 or 2 click fine tuning and then you're in business. Okay, this is my second favorite method, and it's one that should never be overlooked because it's just quick and it's easy. As long as you have a scope with sufficient magnification to see your impacts on the target, this method will work. You can use it on paper, you can use it on freshly painted steel. It doesn't matter. Now, I will say there is 2 very, very important bits to this method. You must be able to reliably and stably hold the firearm in position while doing this adjustment. And the second part I will say to this is it is so much easier if you have a buddy to help you on this one. Yes, you can do it yourself, but if you can have somebody else turn the turrets for you while you're looking through that optic and focusing on holding that firearm dead steady and not moving it, this method will be a whole lot easier. And I'm going to use the graphic here to really explain how this works, because it's a little complex if you've never heard this technique before. Once you see it, it'll probably be easy from now on. This graphic to represent what's going on here. So we have a target in the background. We have bore sighted, whether via laser or whatever system you want to use. This is a good time to remind you to invest in a good quality bore sighter. So you've done your bore sight, but we know that that's going to get you on paper maybe at 50, but nothing much beyond that. We've still got to fine tune the system. So you're going to take your rifle, just as you normally would, and you're going to shoot a group. 3 shots is a good place to start. If you've got time, 5-shot groups do tell you a lot more and eliminate a little bit of shooter and ammunition error, but we don't want to spend thousands of rounds zeroing a firearm. We just want to get it done, and then we can worry about our groups. So fire 2 to 3 rounds. They're going to appear somewhere on the target, like so. Now is where you need to do your part in holding the firearm steady, and ideally you get a buddy to turn the turrets for you. So take all your caps off, get it all ready to go, get your buddy over there. Now, if you've got a really stable platform like a bipod and a rear bag, or maybe a tripod and a bag, or a lead sled or something like that, you may not require the buddy to come and help you. But if you've got a little bit of a compromised position, you're just getting that rough zero and getting it near enough and do your fine tune later, maybe using the first method I showed you, this is where your buddy comes in. And you're going to hold your reticle dead in the center where you aimed, and then you're going to basically freeze and hold the rifle as dead still as possible, and your buddy's going to start turning the turrets. And they will be opposite to the way you've marked, because you're kind of doing this in the reverse order. And what you are going to do is move the reticle across in line with where your impacts were, and then in this case, down to where your impacts are. And you're going to basically keep the rifle stationary, but move the reticle to where the bullets physically hit. This means that when you pull the trigger next time, the bullets are going to land where the crosshair is. roughly speaking. You will still need to fine tune it, but it's a really quick way to make those big coarse initial adjustments. And the one thing I will tell people that makes this method so effective is it eliminates any error in how your turrets track. And when I say turrets track, what I mean is that just because your scope says its turrets are quarter MOA per click, there could be a mechanical error in that scope, and that's more common than most people realize. And when you dial, say, 5 MOA, it might actually move it 5.5 MOA. There might be a little bit of a percentage of error inside that scope. So this method completely eliminates any possible error because you've put the reticle where the bullets went. Simple as that. Now you can make your fine-tune adjustment and your rifle is all zeroed using minimal amount of ammunition, because we all know that stuff's expensive these days. So I hope those two little tricks have helped you out. They're nothing terribly sophisticated, but sometimes it's the point in the right direction that just gets you zeroing quicker with less ammo. So as always, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, happy shooting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Catch you next time.